We're gonna record. Okay, so welcome everybody to Getting Organized for 2021. My name is Melissa Draving, and I am the owner of Here For You Concierge. And Susan is my co-host tonight. And Susan, what's your position at the library?
I'm the director.
She's the director of the Northampton Area
Public Library. Yeah,
it's a long one.
It's a long name.
So thank you for having me tonight, Susan. I'm really excited to talk about goals and getting organized, especially this year. We can all use a little bit less stress and more organization, to keep everything together when we all have so much going on with the pandemic. So just to give you guys some background, I am a personal concierge. I have a small business here in the Lehigh Valley in Emmaus, and I also am a blogger. So if you sign up for my newsletter, you will see my blogs. And also I'm working with clients mostly virtually, but I am still working with some in person, running errands, doing some marketing for other small business owners, and also, lifestyle management. So that's your checking emails, schedules, travel, anything under the sun. So for tonight, we're going to talk about our goals. We're going to go around. I have some of your goals in the chat, and then if anybody else wants to share, that's the most exciting part about being in a group and a talk like this, is that we get to all be a little bit accountable because we're sharing our goals together. And that's one of the big tips that I will talk about. So like I said, I have blogs, and there is a blog for tonight's class already up on my website. So we'll also chat that link for you guys. So you can always reference the information there, and then we'll record and send that out. So you'll have it. So you don't need to really take as many notes. So we're going to talk about getting into the right habits, planning out your goals on like a quadrant project plan, also accountability and how that helps us stay accountable to our goals, obviously, and just how to, keep a light spirit and be happy and not stress too much about our goals. So those are our topics. So everybody is, most people have already heard of SMART goals, and that stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. So we'll start and we'll go around first to the goals that you guys sent me, and then I'll go around to other participants and see if you guys want to share what you specifically want to work on. So I have here Susan's goal and Karen's goal. So Susan, do you want to go ahead and read it for us and tell us about your goal for 2021?
Get rid of clutter and organize important documents and other important items. And that's at home and in my office at work, just to get it all a little bit more organized and make sure I can find things when I need to.
Absolutely. Clutter, it bothers people, and when you clear it out, you just feel so much better. So that's great.
Yeah.
And your important documents, you definitely have to have those organized, or else you stress about it a lot if you can't find them when you need them. So we can definitely talk about some specific solutions for that. And then Karen, it says, do you want to read your goal for us?
Okay, I have trying to teach an old dog new tricks, getting rid of clutter, stop creating new piles, etc. I managed to get a lot of projects done, but while I get projects done, I have piles and piles of things that I've gotten done that need filing or need to be moved to their own special spot instead of, piling sky high.
Yeah, piles, that's that's clutter. And like you said, getting rid of clutter, and try not to create new piles. And usually it's paper, right? Are you having, do you notice
It's paper.
Yeah, so we all need a little paper organization, even myself, so don't worry. And then we have Jane, Jen, Margaret. Who else wants to share their goals? and I'm gonna take notes. Jen, you want to share?
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, honestly, basically organized, and also um, my schedule, because I usually cross coordinate with everything that I have to do, especially at home, my chores, and also I need to get more organized with my budget for sure.
So you said getting organized with chores in your budget, right? Yeah, if we can organize our money and then save a little bit, that definitely alleviates a lot of stress. And chores can be very tricky if you're not keeping on top of them. So that's a good place to set goals and try to meet them throughout the year so you can spread them out. Does anybody else want to share? Margaret, Teresa, Amanda?
Jane wrote in the chat general downsizing.
Downsizing.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a good one as well. Anybody else? Okay. So as we have our goals, you want to start making sure that they're SMART goals. So how can we refine general down? I'm going to pick on Jane. Sorry, Jane, but we're setting SMART goals here. So if it might need to be a little bit more specific. So for downsizing, I would say, you want to have a specific goal. Like, do you want to fit into a townhome with 1 bedroom, or do you want to fit into a small apartment? Like, if you're downsizing, the first thing is to look at the space that you have. So that's how I would make it a little bit more specific, like trying to figure out how you're fitting into that area. And then measurable. So like, how would you measure downsizing? Does anybody have any ideas? Like, you can measure how many things you sold, or how many things you got rid of. And attainable, that's definitely an attainable goal already. Relevant, so just, it's like a little frame that you can put against the goals that you set. And lastly, one of the most important ones is time-based. So with a goal for downsizing, you would want to make sure that you have a specific time that you want to downsize by. So and we could do that with some of the other goals too, but to organize and get rid of clutter, like, that could definitely be more specific. We could set a specific goal of getting rid of, a closet worth of things, or, doing a certain portion of a home. So that would make it more specific. And also time-based, I would say that getting rid of clutter for 2021, maybe you'd want to say that you would have a specific goal set by the end of the year, by half of the year. And then what was the other ones? We have chores and budget. So those could definitely be more specific and measurable, so that you're actually able to set yourself up for success, instead of, if we all get bummed out when we miss our goals. So I have a little quote here from Stephen Covey. It says, "Depending on what they are, our habits will either make us or break us. We become what we repeatedly do." So Stephen Covey is the author. He is a Covey planner, and also I believe it's the Habits for Successful People, which I'm sure Susan knows Stephen Covey. He's a big productivity person. So I actually have somebody who's asking me to join. So let me get them the link real quick. Susan, do you have the link? Could you send it to somebody if I message you their phone number? Okay.
Yeah, I have the link. Sorry, I muted myself.
Okay.
Yeah, if you message it to me, I can send it their way.
Thank you. It's my co-host. Okay. So we all, so everybody, make sure that you have a pen and paper, And I would start with just, blank paper, whatever you like to take notes on, and write at the top of the goal, or at the top, write your goal down. So for me specifically, I think that I was actually struggling to set a goal for tonight. Like, honestly, last year was a lot easier, and the year before to set a goal personally. Like, I don't know if it's just all the craziness that we've all been going through or what, but so I have to really push myself for this class and really get one set. So I'm gonna set a specific goal to grow my business 10% at least. So that is specific enough. So I will write that one down. And so we can't just write our goals down one time and expect to hit them. We have to actually take them and keep them in front of us. So for me personally, I like to keep them pasted on the inside of my bathroom cabinet. So each day in the morning, I come downstairs and I have to go and open the cabinet, obviously, and that is where I see my goals. And I still have them. I think they were set last year, so I do need to update them. But my biggest goal that I did actually accomplish was about dance class. And so let me see. And so when I was in school, I had a lot of dance class. I had jazz, tap, ballet, modern, you name it. And I had a really great time in dance, and it was always such a big stress release for me. And I loved it. But when I came to college, I didn't try out for the dance team or anything. And I didn't push myself to get involved in that extracurricular, which I should have, because it would have made my college experience so much richer if I had been able to do dance. So 10 years went by, and basically I had not stepped into a dance studio except for ballroom when me and my husband were getting married. But that's, a whole different ball game. So ballroom. And then I started working with a time management expert and stress expert, and his name was actually Ryan Dunphy. And he was really trying to push me to find out what it was that I wanted to spend my time doing. So for me, I was immediately thought about dance class. But it was really scary because it had been 10 years and I hadn't done anything. So, I was really nervous about it. But what I did was, and talked about it with him first. So, I was accountable to him. He was an expert. And so obviously, I wanted to achieve that thing that I said. So that's one of the biggest things that you can do to hit your 2021 goals, is to tell other people. And then he helped me walk through it, how would I actually accomplish it. And so we talked about how I would need to go and get clothes. I would need to, find information for the dance studio, which I already had because I've been looking at the studios for a long time. And so I was able to, and then what happened was the weirdest thing. I was walking my dog, and the lady who was the dance teacher at the local school happened to be walking her dog, and I recognized her from when I worked at Dunkin' Donuts, which was right next to her studio. So I went and talked to her, and she was like, yeah, we have adult tap class, or I'm pretty sure it was tap. And so that way, I had everything all lined up, and I was still nervous. So what I did was post on Facebook, and I told everybody that I was going to dance class. Wish me luck. And it actually worked. So, it says right here, top class. So, everybody supported me, and, it was a great time. I actually have never gotten that many Facebook posts likes before. Hi, Charmaine. I'm glad you joined. I'm sorry you didn't get the link. Thank you, Susan, for sending out the link for me. You being such a great co-host. So
No problem.
I was just talking, Charmaine, about my experience in going back to dance class after many years, and how it was really illustrative of how you can reach a goal. So basically, I posted on Facebook and said, wish me luck. And I got so much extra energy that I went through with it, and I went to top class, and now I actually go to ballet class every week. So it's really
neat.
powerful. Yeah, I'm in ballet class every week and I love it. And it's such a great exercise, and it's actually it's not that far, but so anyhow, that's just an example of how you can kind of reach your goal. And another big thing, well, does anybody else have a story of a time that they reached a goal that they had set and how they got to that point? Anybody else? I'm really making you think here tonight. I'm not gonna let you guys off the hook until somebody shares it. Anybody?
Tonight's about you.
Come on. It's gonna be
You like
interactive.
that guy.
We got Denise in the house too. Hi, Denise. Welcome.
Hi,
know
how are
that-
you?
I'm great. So I know that you know about reaching your goals, and I'm just asked the audience who has a story of a time that they reached a goal. So I'm thinking maybe that you might be the person that is the first to answer. You guys.
Well,
I'm sorry. That
Any-
I'm
any
putting you on the
goal?
spot. Yeah.
any goal at all? Is that your, okay. Well, with my business, annually, I put new goals together, and I put month-to-month goals and annual goals and so forth. And I had just reached my highest income goal this past year in 2020. And I'm going for new licenses. So
There you go.
federal and state licenses. So that's what I'm working on now. But yes, I hit an income goal.
Did you make a
That's it.
plan for that?
Excuse me? Oh,
You
yes.
Mhm,
But it was kind of, when COVID hit last year, we didn't know what was going to happen and how to prepare for it. But we all transitioned quite a bit, learned Zoom and so forth. So I was able to sit down with clients instead of meeting person one-on-one, like everybody else has learned to do Zoom appointments and meet with them that way. So
Mhm.
we all learned that, and we all jumped in to learn. I mean, Charmaine helped me a lot getting accustomed to Zoom as well. She was a big help, and
Awesome.
and that's just how we did it. So
Yeah, great story. Thank you so much for sharing, being the first brave person. So, yeah, definitely you have to share your goals and share them first with the people that you trust the most. So I think that, obviously it's best to first tell people that are close to you, but if you really want to hit this goal, why not post on social media? And as long as it's a smart goal, people will support you, and it's always going to hold you accountable, because once you have it on social media,
Mhm.
there's literally no backing out. So,
Pretty much.
and also it's going to help stay accountable, because humans are social creatures, and once we tell somebody something, I think we have a way of making it happen. As long as, like I said, as long as it's a SMART goal. If you go and post your what is it, BHAG, which I learned stands for big, hairy, audacious goal, that would be something that I would maybe not post on Facebook, because you might not get as much support, you might have some negativity. But if you don't care, then that's fine too. And also, for me specifically, this helped me with my goal to learn public speaking. So I used meetup.com to find a meetup for public speaking. It was Toastmasters of Collegeville. And this was a time that I actually lived a little closer to that area. So I would go down every every other week, and I would practice my public speaking with people, and it, was great. It worked very well, and was able to learn all of the basics and move on to advanced leadership. And I gained so much knowledge by going through Toastmasters program, but that came through a meetup. So maybe you want to get more organized. Maybe there is, a meetup group or some sort of accountability group you could find either on Facebook, or you could create with other people, especially if you're in a similar business. Like Denise she showed us that example, and she has accountability to somebody else. So her working with somebody else and telling her, like, that sounded like it was, pretty instrumental in hitting the goals. So
Yeah,
and also,
it was.
right? So, but if you don't tell anybody, if we stay like, quiet about everything, then people don't know, and they don't know how to support you. So, maybe if you told somebody what you wanted to do specifically, they would think of something that would help you towards that. And you wouldn't have never been able to breach that topic if you hadn't been a little bit vulnerable and actually shared your goal, like you guys all did with me tonight. So you took the first step. So how could we have some in the chat, like how could we share the goals, like of downsizing and getting rid of clutter? Like, would anybody be able to share that with like some, their inner circle? And
Well, I don't mean to talk. I don't know if anybody else wants to, but I'm actually going through a very big transition right now. And one of my goals is to get organized, hence why I'm really on this with you. And but I've been neglecting a project for years and years and years. It's a big, big, big project. And I know Charmaine knows what I'm talking about.
I have project too.
She has her project too, but mine's a different item project. And, so I'm kind of excited because, I committed to at least about 2 hours a day to work on it. And I really just, I've been starting to work on it a little bit by little. I've gotten, one of the things that, and I'm sure you can answer this, one of the things that was extremely overwhelming was looking at the piles and knowing what I had to do, because we're going paperless. And so everything has to be scanned and individual, and I have to go through each client file, and I have to, get rid of the, unnecessary things, and then make sure the other important items are scanned in. It's just a long process, 26 years. So when we're going, like I said, paperless, it's a big job. But I talked to somebody the other night, and one of the things that she suggested to me is, I said, I have a lot of purging to do, but I don't know where to put everything. I don't know how to organize it, because every time I get rid of a certain thing, then it's like, okay, where do I put that? Oh, I'll put it there. And then I change my mind. It's like, so she suggested just keep purging, and then later on, you'll be able to determine where to actually put all the stuff. And that's actually helped. It's been less.
yes. So for everybody that, has a goal of downsizing, that is absolutely the way to do it. Is first you do have to get rid of at least a third of what is there. And that might involve some difficult choices of, items to keep and items to get away. And if you have more storage, then, that's fine. Some people have, a lot more storage and they're able to keep more things. But a good frame of reference is that, you have a certain amount of space, and anything beyond that amount of space that you have for something should, you should get rid of it. And eventually, you'll spend less time looking for stuff, and you'll feel better, and it'll be easier to clean. So it's kind of about picturing your desired results at the end of the day. Like, we all want to have, obviously, like the perfection, but that's not realistic. So it's like, what is the attainable goal? So with decluttering, we have to just kind of clean out as much as possible, and then you really have less things to look through. So for me, when I lose something, there's not as many places to look through. I mean, I have stuff, but it's just not so much stuff that it takes me hours and hours to look through all my things. Like, so that, if that helps. But what else do we have? So creating new piles is also something that you want to maybe stay accountable to a friend about. So Karen, if you have somebody, I think of pairing up with somebody that might also have clutter that wants to get rid of it. So maybe you have a friend that you can trust, and you go to her and just say, hey, I want to, go on like what do they call it nowadays? A clutter journey. And will you come and hold me accountable? And, can we be accountable to each other? And do you want to do this? And see if they're interested. And if they are, then great. You guys can buddy up and make a big dent. Because one of the things that about being like doing professional organizing is that it makes it a lot easier when you have another person. So if it's, it doesn't necessarily have to be a professional organizer, but certainly helps to have somebody who's, been on the ropes and kind of knows what should go and what you kind of should keep and can guide you in the right way. But even if it's just a friend, it's good to have two people, because that will hold you accountable and you'll be able to get more done. Like my dad, I actually helped him organize, and he has a trouble organizing because, sometimes he gets distracted. So for having me there for 2 hours helps him not get distracted and focus. And if he's, starting to think about other things, I'll just try to steer him back to what we're doing, and it works out really well. So those are just some ways like to share with others and to kind of like help yourself stay accountable to whatever goal that you're setting. So we talked about this. I kind of skipped ahead, so sorry. And another fun thing is to make your goals fun. So these are actually a couple different apps that will help you gamify your goals. So for me, I love a good video game or a board game or a competition, as long as it's not like sports, because for some reason I'm not very good at sports. But so this would be having a kind of a competition either with friends or just competing with yourself to check off your goals through using one of these apps. So Dareby, that's an exercise app. Habitica, that helps you gamify your goals basically. And one of my favorites is actually Trello. So this is kind of the same idea of crossing your goals out, that gives you an accomplishment. But if you can, win by doing your goals, that is even better. So, and you can also create your own system. So there's nothing wrong with, either putting in your planner or a notebook, your own system, which, you could do a simple grid and plan out a reward at the end. So what goals do we not talk about yet? So maybe Jen, for your goal to get the chores all settled, and I'm guessing you want to have like a more regimented schedule of chores. So for you, you could do like a specific interval. So like, for example, you're gonna change the sheets every week, and you're gonna, I don't know, do the dishes every night. Like, if you guys have ever heard of the Fly Lady, she is it's a book, an organizing book, where it talks about making sure your dishes are done every single night. Because if you have your dishes all done in the sink, when you wake up, you're not starting with yesterday's like icky mess. So it works wonders for people, and I certainly try to do that too. So maybe part of your goal, you could like look into the Fly Lady and watch a few videos, or make it a goal to kind of gather some information either from the library or from YouTube, and then that way you're like starting to think about it. And also you could do, part of your goal could be to create a chore chart for yourself, either print it or make it yourself. And the same thing with a budget. I'm a big part of Dave Ramsey's Facebook groups, and I'm sure they have Dave Ramsey book at the library. I know they have it on the Libraries Overdrive app, the Total Money Makeover. And he also, so I'm part of his Facebook group, and I think Rachel Cruz, which is his daughter, she also writes money books and all kinds of budgeting things. So maybe you could start there. You could start with reading some more books, because honestly, like with the library, we have such a great resource for helping us accomplish things, because you can always get information through the library. And I'm a big fan of nonfiction books. So for me, like I love anything about productivity, or like I said, Stephen Covey, and also David Allen, who writes Getting Things Done. So, you know, those are just general books, but if you had a goal to do a budget, you know, you could start with some books or videos and kind of work your way that way. So that way, like gathering the information is always a good first step. And that could be for everybody. For getting rid of clutter, you could gather some information, maybe read the Marie Kondo book. For downsizing, there's some really good books by Susan. You might have to look this one up. It's Let It Go. I think it's by Peter Walsh. She'll have to check that one for me. But these books, you know, they kind of get us thinking about different patterns. Like maybe you haven't examined in a while, like what exactly is causing you to do all the clutter. So it gives you a chance to kind of reframe yourself and think about maybe some things they haven't considered before. So make it fun. So does anybody have any, while we're talking about books, does anybody else have any recommendations for books that they might recommend for us to do our goals? We have goals to get chores in better order, budgeting. I have a goal to grow my business. Does anybody else have any other books that they would recommend for these goals?
I've actually been listening to Atomic Habits, and
Atomic. That's so funny.
So it's like little habits that you can create, like washing the dishes every night or changing your sheets once a week, you know, for just automatically do them and they become habits. One thing I had started doing was, because I think the last time we had basically along, you did one of these along the same, about a year ago. I had my basement downstairs, which has all my mother's fabric and stuff in it. And I was actually, my goal is to clean it out. And so I made the goal to clean it out and to paint the floor, the garage floor, so I can move my car into the garage for the first time in my life, and also paint the garage floor. So this summer, it must be to the point so I can paint it. And then I also thought, well, if the floor in the floor of the garage in the basement is empty, I can also make it a playroom for the kids. Nothing fancy, just some place where they can just bum around and hang out, and it won't be outside. It's downstairs where, you know, they can just relax. So, but actually during this time of me cleaning it out, I decided that every garbage day, I will have a full garbage. Yeah. So that's the goal.
Great.
No matter what it is, whether it's old clothes or old boxes or old fabric, I have been basically filling it up, because at one point I was trying to give it away and I couldn't give it away. So I've been filling up the garbage can. So
yeah, exactly.
I got all of it done.
Yeah, I used to have a friend, and she was helping her husband organize the garage, and she was a project manager, and so she told me that he was going to go out and do one shelf, I think, for every night, and it was going to be like an hour, and that's all he had to do was one shelf. And that was, I mean, I'm sure he got it done, you know, but you could also keep a box for donations. I use that trick when I'm trying, like, because even if you get rid of so much stuff, like, you know, Marie Kondo, she talks about your once in a lifetime gigantic declutter that you do. And so I did this probably like 4 or 5 years ago. So I'm down, like I said, I'm down to like not a lot of things, but you still have to maintain it. And so I'll take an empty box that comes with one of my shipments of Amazon, whatever it is, you know, that you buy on Amazon, anything and everything. And I'll fill it up with things to take to the Goodwill. So that way I have like it's setting a specific parameters of, you know, I'm going to get rid of this much stuff. And even if it's a small box or it's a few bags, just continually taking things out and decluttering throughout the year. A great time to do it is in the beginning or end of the season, because you know all the clothes that you didn't go through and you know the ones that you didn't wear. So it's easier. And honestly, it's a lot easier to take care of clothes when you don't have so many. Like right now, me and my husband, we share a closet, and that is, it's so much easier, honestly. So you do get rewards from it. So we'll go back to our PowerPoint. Actually, I'm going to share the project plan with you guys that I have up. This is up on my website. And like I said, I think I sent the chat out earlier for this project plan, which I love, because I've seen project plans that are like 9 or 10 pages long and they're so in depth. And actually my client, she just told me that she likes this better too, because it's not that long. It's just simple. So we already talked about a few of these specific quadrants. This is again a quadrant plan, which sounds really fancy, but it's just 4 squares. So the resources needed is the first thing. So remember I talked about information gathering, that's resources needed. You know, you need to check out a specific book, obviously from the library. And I think it's so funny that Charmaine said about Atomic Habits, because I don't know if you guys can see, but this is my Overdrive app. Who has Overdrive app from the library?
I don't have, what is Overdrive is from the library?
Yeah, Overdrive app from the library. I just got Atomic Habits. My hold just came through like literally today. So that was really cool. And I also, so I have audiobooks and ebooks on here. And so that makes it so easy. And right now are you guys doing book bingo at the library, your library?
You mean for like winter reading?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have something a little bit different. It's like a bookmark, like winter reading, and we have like prizes and such. So yes, kind
there
of.
You go. So I got really excited because our library in Emmaus was doing book bingo, and I don't know if I have it, but I think it's downstairs. And so just reading a bunch of books right off the Overdrive app, it's a great way to get more books in, because sometimes we have a goal, we want to read more, and we obviously need, I think the reason I brought that up is because a lot of these productivity books that you guys might like to read are on the app, either as ebooks or as audiobooks. And for me personally, my phone links up right to the car speakers, like Bluetooth stuff, and it's not the newest car, but so if you can get that and you have a long drive or commute at all, or you're going somewhere, you can just easily listen to your audiobooks in the car. And for me, I like that a lot more than always listening to music or not listening to anything. So, but then you can help kind of get yourself in the right frame of mind again. And so I'm gonna do a new share. But what's really important is to just be kind to yourself, and kind of some people take goals and they go take them to the extreme and they take them to the negative. So we really want to make sure that we're not doing those things, and just let yourself be. And if you don't hit your goals, it's not a time to beat yourself up or stress or have anxiety. We're just human. So some of us are born organized and some of us are not born organized, and we have to work at it. So just if you don't hit it, just don't beat yourself up. So to review, I guess we have about 20 more minutes. So does anybody have anything any questions so far that they wanted to ask? I want this to be really like sharing. Actually, I don't know if I finished with this project plan. We talked about the resources, but the second quadrant is the steps. So we have to kind of brainstorm first to get all the steps out and what they would be. So we talked about reading some books, decluttering. Maybe one of your steps is to get a box from Amazon that you're going to fill up with donations and take to the store, or maybe you have a few things to sell and you're going to sell them. Does anybody else have any other steps that they would put for their goals, or to get rid of clutter?
I liked some of the ideas about, like a shelf at a time, or like making it like manageable, like a section at a time, or like a garbage bag at a time. So that way, you're doing it in those steps.
That's not overwhelming.
Yeah.
So, yeah, exactly. And I know that we're downsizing. A step we talked about going to donations, getting a specific amount of things, and also selling things. I'm trying to think of anything else that you could do.
Oh, I
You
have
could
just one
give
thing.
things away.
So actually, when you say selling things, I've noticed two people that I know personally. I've noticed that every season they have a sale on Facebook. And so basically all their friends, they say that I'm going to sell everything in my closet and home, things that they don't want, and they sell it for a small amount. But I've noticed that a lot of people will buy it. So sometimes I thought to myself, well, maybe I'll do that with some of the things I have in my home that are still useful, but I don't use them anymore. And that was a great idea because, I mean, they're not making hundreds of dollars, but they're selling something for $5, selling something for $2. So they're getting change they're moving it out of their home, and they're getting a little money to put towards buying a new table that they want, instead of keeping that same table, changing up the decor, their wardrobe, freshening things up. And I forgot about that idea.
Yeah, absolutely. If you have the time and and the energy, and you want to sell like a lot of stuff, then it's a great way to make extra cash. When I was helping my parents downsize, I helped them sell a lot of things. And I mean, if it just depends on if you have the time and how much energy you want to devote to it versus what you're going to get back. Because for me, I have to get motivated by having enough money there to, like, if something's $5, I probably wouldn't even bother, because really a lot of people don't consider the fact that you have to field all these messages about, is it still available? And then you have to contact with these people that you might not know unless they're your friends on Facebook. And then, you're either meeting them in a parking lot or at your home. So,
oh no, actually it was their personal friends. It was,
yeah,
it's a personal friends, yeah.
If you have enough friends on Facebook, then why not? One of my clients, she did this a few months ago, and she wanted to have an online Facebook trunk sale. And I thought that was really creative, because she just had, she created a Facebook event. I helped her. And then she held everything up one at a time, and you could, I guess, message her or chat if you wanted her to ship it to you or something. So, I mean, it depends on what you have time for and energy for. So if you have it, great.
Sure.
So then the next part of this plan would be to put everything in order, because you'll find that there is a sequence and an order of the steps that you want to take for your goals. Typically, certain things are more efficient to be done first or second. So if, obviously we've talked about starting with gathering some information. You know, are you going to list things online? Because if you were going to do that, it's going to take longer. You need to start that first. And then maybe if things don't sell online, you would donate them and have like a sequence of your steps. And for, I'm trying to think of some of these other ones. So maybe for budgeting, you would first contact a financial plan or a financial coach if you know somebody to work with, because that might be a way for you to help reach your goals. Like you should never, you know, sometimes it does take some professional assistance. Like I said, I worked with a stress and time management professional. So maybe, you know, for certain goals, like I said, especially like working with a professional organizer if you can, or also sometimes you can find an accountability coach to help you reach your goal. So that goes back to sharing them. But lastly, or not lastly, but at the end on the right is the desired end result. And this is a step that most people don't really consider. And really, it's the most important one. So why are you decluttering specifically? Like, why do you want to have, you know, a specific chore outline? And, you know, what is the feeling that's going to happen when, like, for example, I grow my business 10%, you know, why do I want those things? Because one of my clients talks about this a lot, Richard Plinky, he's a local author, and he says that, you know, if you're just doing something for the money, it won't necessarily motivate you as much as if you are doing it for a specific end result of the money. So, you know, maybe you're not going to work quite as hard, but like if you start picturing what you're going to buy, like maybe you're going to go on vacation. Like if you can budget enough and save throughout the year, maybe that would equal a weekend down the shore or, you know, a cruise or something. Like for me, I would get a lot more excited about the possibility to go on a cruise or do something really fun than just to save it or, you know, to be responsible. So that's just me. But for a desired end result for the decluttering, I would definitely say it's a feeling that you want to create in your home, because we all want to be comfortable at home. We want to have, you know, like I said, this picture perfect, clean, pristine, quiet sanctuary. So, you know, we can maybe not reach that all the way, but we can get a little bit closer and we can feel a little bit less stress, you know, by taking the right steps and achieving these things. And so we talked about starting with small changes, you know, starting with gathering information or making a habit, like we said, a small habit, like clearing one shelf off per day, and making our actions more intentional, writing our goals down and posting them somewhere that you'll see every day. And I definitely recommend everybody to create a list of the goals that you have and post them either inside your medicine cabinet or inside your kitchen cabinet. Because for me, I don't know, something about inside the cabinets, like, because you can put it away, it's not like in your face and it's not visual clutter, but you do see it often enough that you get the, you know, you get to see the goal every time you open that cabinet. We talked about, you know, sharing things with others and being more vulnerable and allowing people to see what our goal is so that we can help stay, you know, achieving them. Sorry, I realized I didn't have the slide up. Making the process fun and rewarding and being kind to ourselves. So we have some more questions for discussion. We talked about how we're going to set some SMART goals. So now that we kind of went through everything, do you guys want to work on your goal to either put it onto the project plan, or do you want to kind of edit your goal and maybe make it a little bit smarter, or share some of the steps that you're gonna do. Because like I said, it's all about being accountable. So I do want to hear from everybody. If I think Charmaine's muted. It's hearing a lot of background noise from her.
Sorry.
Sorry. So yeah, if anybody wants to share. So who will you share your goals with? What will you do to have fun with your goals? Does anybody have any ideas?
Well, I would probably share my goals, my decluttering goals with my friend Sean, because he's way more organized than I am. So he can kind of keep me in line. I still don't know how I want to have fun with it though. I feel like that's a hard part, especially because it's something I don't necessarily want to do, but it is a goal. So that makes it hard. But I did like some of your ideas of like making it a game, because that's how my mind works. Like I have like set goals, like reading goals and stuff like that. So maybe something like that.
Yeah, and a reward at the end. So, you know, if you hit your goal, you have to, you know, go out to celebrate or do something special, or, you know, get your favorite food for takeout if you're staying at home. So let's see here. Any more slides? Do we have some? So if anybody, like I said, if you guys need to reach out to me and have any questions about like the things that we talked about tonight, or any ideas for future programs, and you know, I'm always interested to see what type of programs everybody wants to see. So I know you guys are really quiet, but if anybody wants to share or ask questions at this point, I'm gonna stop sharing. Like I said, the information will be on the website, and I will also send out the recording from tonight. So in case you want to catch it again.
So I'm thinking about through basically this whole call, I'm thinking about restarting. So for, I guess, maybe a year, I've been focusing on the first level of decluttering. So now I'm thinking about the second level, because I figure sometimes when the project is big, you kind of have to re-energize yourself, you know, remotivate yourself. And so that's what I'm figuring out about doing now. You know, the same goal, similar goals would apply. You know, how do I break it? Similar ideas would apply. How do I break it down? The goal again. How do I break it down? How do I have fun? Well, for having fun, I think, you know, continuing on listening to audiobooks is what I've been doing. Audiobooks or music, but and then continuing to focus, because now I'm looking at stuff and wanting to keep it, or having to, if I'm going to, the other problem with donating is I want to, if I'm donating this much, I actually want to write some of it down on a sheet of paper so I can actually have the list for tax purposes, because I've gotten very good with that kind of thing. And so I am thinking, it's not that
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
no, but it's a little overwhelming. So that's all.
I know when I was taking some of my mom's and donating some bags of my mom's clothes and things like that, they gave me receipts for the clothes so that I could use it, whatever the amount was. I don't know. They determined that. But they gave me receipts so that I can use it to for my tax.
They don't quite determine it. So like if you have, let's say you have a dress, and so they'll give you a receipt saying they received it, but they won't determine the value. So like usually what it is I just count like 6 dresses, 12 yards of this, that kind of thing. Gotcha. And then it's just a matter of, just getting into the mood of doing it. It's just, so it's basically re-energizing your thoughts.
Yeah, I have a label maker, of course. So for this specific purpose, I would say that your filing cabinet is your friend and that you want to make a file that is specific to the year and deductions. So I actually just this morning at LaTip talked about my accordion folder. And so this is for us ladies that are in business. You have to keep your records for taxes. So she's got her, Charmaine has hers. So it's just basically a 13 pocket folder and they come with the little months tab. So you can just put them in there and you can start filing your receipts. And then at the end of the year, you just have a full copy of your receipts all organized. Like I put them in all the time and just put them in the back so that they're organized by dates. And if I were to ever be audited, this is a lot easier to hand to somebody than a shoebox full of receipts, which is the cliche, but also like sometimes people have Ziploc bags, like nobody wants that. So if you're able to have your records in an accordion folder, I think this one was like $5. You can get them a lot of different places and they come in very much handy. So that's for paper. I know we didn't talk about paper a lot today, but some of my paper tips is just to first reduce the amount of paper that is coming in the front door through your mail. So ways that you can do that, you can go through your magazine subscriptions and cancel them if you're not reading them, especially, or catalogs. Write a letter back to them and just try to get off the mailing list. And also, a lot of people receive a lot of mail from charities. So it's recommended that you only make larger donations to fewer charities, because sometimes you end up on all these mailing lists for charities, and then if you're making small donations, they'll keep sending you mail and it just balloons. So I had one client who really, he had that problem. Was getting like 10 or 15 charity requests every week, at least. And so canceling them definitely will cut everything down, and subscriptions. So, but then there's also another one that is the credit card offers. So most people don't know this, but you can, they're required to send you information to opt out of the credit card offers. And so you wouldn't receive them anymore. So you have to open it up and kind of find the opt out phone number. But once you call it, you can opt out for a certain amount of years from credit card offers. So that's another way. And another way is to do paperless billing. So there's different ways that you can kind of like reduce the physical clutter that's coming in. And I know we are all talking about clothes. So that's another big thing, is that you should be reducing the amount of clothes that you're buying. So if you're somebody who loves clothes and loves jewelry, you really have to be careful about what emails you subscribe to. If your favorite store sends you like 75% off sale, then you might be tempted to go out and buy a few items that you wouldn't necessarily need. But so you might have to unsubscribe, and you might have to avoid certain stores. So for me, a lot of times, like I'll go into Staples and just honestly like impulse buy paper or like cards or something. So I have to be really careful and intentional when I go to those places. So, and then does anybody else have, I gave you guys some paper tips, some clothing tips. We talked about household. So we're getting organized. So if anybody, like I said, what's that?
Food is a big thing. Well, so when I go, I actually have stopped buying extra stuff. Well, you go to the store and things are on sale, and you're like, oh, I might need that extra jar of spaghetti sauce because it's on sale. I'm trying to work on a friend of mine who buys it every time it's on sale. And the funny thing is, when we go through, every time he's moved, I'll go through his cabinet, and 50% of the stuff is outdated and years outdated. So that's another thing to watch for. Just because it's on sale doesn't mean you need to buy it. You only need,
that's true, close to
20 or 30 rolls of toilet paper.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so it's 7:30 now. So I mean, if you guys maybe needs to leave right away, you can go ahead and leave. And if I'll stay for another 5 or 10 minutes, and if you guys have more questions you want to ask, or you can go ahead and ask them, and just kind of like open floor. So let me know if you have any questions.
How do you fight through the fact, when I'm going through a lot of stuff right now, and I keep looking at things and I have to go back to them at least 2 or 3 times to really purge it. And I look at things and say, oh geez, I have another box set up for sentimental things and things I want to remember and blah, blah, blah. And then I don't know. And then I think, do I really need that? I don't know. So how do you get through this emotional, sentimental, you can't let go of it, but you really could, kind of thing.
Well, you got to set a limit for yourself. So, for example, you could purchase a specific box that you really love, like maybe from Michael's. You get one of those pretty boxes, and that's your sentimental. And you make it as big as you want it to be, but only that box will be able to take your things. You know what I mean? So that way you're just giving yourself some boundaries instead of just being like, oh, well, everything is sentimental. Well, everything can't be sentimental because we only have so much room in our homes, and the sad thing is that you hold on to it, and what if it gets ruined in your basement or in the attic? It's not a great environment. So the more you hold on to, the more chance that either mice would get into it or some wetness. Like, you have to really be careful. That's why I met a antiques appraiser, and he was saying that it does happen that people, they have collections that are worth thousands of dollars, and they have to be kept in certain conditions, or else they get ruined and they're not worth anything. So, if you're giving things away, you're giving it a new home, and somebody actually wants it, will end up with it, and just releasing it. Like, you have to kind of first decide how much you're going to keep, and then just whatever is not going to fit, then that's it. It's kind of cold. Like, you do have to somewhat divorce yourself from having everything be special, especially if you're in a limited space. Like, I mean, like I said, me and my husband share one closet, and then we each have a closet for our things, and we have very few things in the basement. But still, I still feel like I have too much stuff, so it's all relative to how much space you actually do have. But for me, I have a lot of office, like I said, I have a lot of paper and office supplies and label makers. I just got a new one for Christmas that actually makes ribbons with stuff on them. Like, you can write on the ribbon with gold ink and stuff. So everybody has their little problem area, and most people want to get more organized, but it's tough, especially like we're in a consumer society. They want us to keep buying all the time, and we're constantly bombarded with ads and sales and emails, and you can't go on Facebook or Instagram without being sold things. And some of the stuff is really cool. You're actually, if you join my newsletter, you'll see I just saw these really cool Love Pop cards that they're like die cut, and like I like the pop-up cards that they have at Hallmark, but these ones are even more fancy, and they have Disney characters on them. And it was on Facebook, and somehow they know I like cards, but which is creepy. But so I have to kind of make sure that I'm not spending a lot of time on the website that sells fancy cards, because then I'll buy it. The more you shop, the more you buy. So, and that's another thing in the grocery store you talked about with food. So I try to get in and out of the grocery store as soon as possible, even with budgeting, because a lot of people don't realize this, but your budget has a lot to do with your food. If you are spending, just whatever you want on food, then that kind of leaks over into the other areas of your life. So I think that, if you're having budgeting issues, the first place you want to look to make some cuts is probably your food budget. So, there's a lady that is also a blogger, Jordan Page, and she has a blog called Fun, Cheap, or Free. and she has a lot of really great videos about using how to grocery shop for like a large family and be able to cut costs. And there's lots of different resources, but like making meals in bulk and, you know, freezer meals, like doing things that are more economical will help you with your budget. And not eating out, obviously, but it's tough.
One of the things that I teach people too is that they don't realize how much they're spending at their Starbucks and, you know, Paneras and all these other things. So just as an example, one couple I sat with, he said, well, just making it quick, he says, well, I can't put away for my retirement. I don't have enough money. So
Right.
then we sat down and we got through the nitty gritty and went through the budget and all this other stuff. And one of the things we found out is that he was buying coffee, him and his wife, every day, and it cost him $8 to $10 a day to do this, whatever they were buying, you know, all this other stuff. So we gave him other suggestions. He was actually a pastor at a church, a youth pastor. And so, you know, suggested that, you know, you have a coffee maker there, buy the coffee that you like, you know, that kind of coffee, but make it there instead of, you know, doing that. So anyway, they did this whole thing, and, you know, we were able to free up $250 for each of them every month. And they were easily able to put money away. So that was $500 between the two of them, just freed up with one in one area. So there's, people don't realize that. You actually mentioned the restaurant part of it, and people are, you know, ordering out, especially now everybody's doing this, you know, the ordering in and stuff like that, but that, you know, that's costs a lot. It's not free to have it delivered, and there's a lot of extra cost that way.
Yeah, the Dave Ramsey book talks a lot about, you know, eating rice and beans. He like tells people, if you ever go and watch his YouTube too, it's really funny where some of the advice he gives about, you know, you have to go on rice and beans, and sometimes, you know, you do, and you find ways to cut your budget. Like, even I just learned that, I'll give you 2 tips and then I'll probably have to end the meeting, but so I like to make a whole chicken, and actually my husband just made one this week, and then I like to take the bones and everything and make my own chicken broth. So like chicken broth, especially if you want bone broth, it's like $7 sometimes. It's ridiculous, but for me that like it helps me feel better, and you know, I'm saving money, so it's awesome. And then also, yeah, and I just learned about getting this was on a TV show actually. It was about getting dried beans instead of canned, and that's actually healthier and less expensive, and because you're not paying for all the water weight, and you just have to soak them. So yeah, so I'll take one last question and then we're gonna sign off, I promise. Anybody have anything else before we say goodnight? Okay, great. Well, it was wonderful having everybody here, and I certainly appreciate your time and coming and, you know, doing some goal setting and learning about different strategies to help make your goals easier to achieve. And please feel free to send me your goals to melissa@hereforyoupa.com, and that's on my website, which is hereforyoupa.com. And like I said, my blog for tonight and also the project planning board are on there, and I'll also send that out. If you guys or Susan wants to give me email addresses, I'll send out all the resources afterwards and the recording. And I hope you guys all have a fabulous night and good luck with your goals and everything.
Thank you very much for your time. It was great.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Melissa.
So good to see you. Good to see you, Susan.
Thank you again for
Thank
the
you.
program. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome, everybody. Have a great night.
Bye, you too.
Thank you, you too.